What's up everyone, NeeJP2 here, and in today's video we're taking a look at two slightly off meta picks that are able to counter the newly buffed Incinerate users. Now we have Nihilego, which is a rock type, which means it's able to do very well into fire types, especially Talonflame and Charizard, and we have Azumarill, which is able to just do well into most fire types overall. So I was pretty excited to run this team because I was expecting to see a lot of Incinerate users, and I certainly did. It seemed like almost every single team I went up against had one. So it was nice to be able to just beat them without having to rely on switch advantage. Now anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's hop into the battles. Hopping into the first battle, and we lead Lurantis into Cobalion, and this is not a good lead. The opponent then switches into Pidgeot though, so I had assumed that they were trying to bait out a rock type, because Pidgeot is weak to rock. So I decided to switch in Nihilego, because I do believe they have like a Talonflame or a Charizard, and Azu does well as well. Now they debuff us, and we're still going to be able to do a lot of damage with Rock Slide, and if they go for a Brave Bird here, which I presume they will, we'll tank it, and we'll be able to get a full farm down. The energy is not very useful against Cobalion, but on the bright side it does do some damage. It doesn't do much, but in the end, it doesn't matter. We don't even get the new mechanic, but that Rock Slide wasn't really going to change anything, because it's not going to make it take one superpower to take them out. And in the back they have Talonflame, and I knew they had something that was weak to Azu, so that's why I switched to Nihilego. Now, Azu is just set to destroy this Talonflame. Now, I'm running Hydro Pump because of Talonflame and Charizard, because we're not going to be able to take them out with Ice Beam. But I get the bait with the Play Rough, and they go for another Fly, and we can shield that though. Now, they have another Fly, and Azu can still just shield this again. And I'm going to farm, throw on the best possible timing. I went over 100 energy on accident, but that's fine. And we go for a second Play Rough, and we get the shield, and they're low enough that we're going to be able to take them out with this Play Rough. So Play Rough takes out the Talonflame, we bring back in Lurantis, and this still isn't looking too good, is the problem. Because they can go for a Sacred Sword, and they have to get to they should have to get to a back-to-back here, maybe? I don't think they actually did it. They probably could have farmed down Nihilego, but they thought they did. And so they tried to get to back-to-back here, but Lurantis makes it to the back-to-back superpowers. We take that game. Hopping into the next battle, and we lead Lurantis into Gardevoir. This is a very odd lead, and then the opponent switches into Rhyperior. So this opponent is just probably not very experienced in terms of Battle League. We go for a Leaf Blade, we get a shield, and we don't have to shield their move. They go for a superpower, but we're going to tank that, and we actually just fully farm them down. They bring back in the Gardevoir, but we have a Leaf Blade loaded, and Leaf Blade will do some nice damage to Gardevoir, but not a risk of taking them out. Now I can bring in Nihilego, get the full farm down, and in the back they have Swampert. So Azu should be able to just clean this matchup. We go for a Sludge Bomb. I was just happy to get chip damage, but they actually shield it, so now Azu's up 2 shields. And the funny thing is, I still don't have to shield the first move. They go for a Sludge Wave though. But Azu, despite being such a low combat power, does tank it, and we should have enough HP and shields that we'll be able to make it to enough moves to take out the Swampert. I go for a Hydro Pump, slight misplay because it's not taking them out, and I realize at this point that they're not going to make it to a Hydro Cannon before I make it to another Hydro Pump, so I just decide to farm up to the Hydro Pump, and I go for it. Hydro Pump will take out the Swampert from this range, and we take him out and take that game. Hopping into the next battle, and we lead Lurantis into Steelix. Now, I absolutely cannot let Nihilego see Steelix, so I'm just going to hopefully just be able to take out the Steelix with Lurantis, or take switch advantage somehow. They go for a Breaking Swipe, and then they switch into Skeledirge, and it's Azumarill time. So, Skeledirge has the buffed Incinerate, but the thing is, they're not going to be able to do much damage anyways because of Azu's bulk, and we're going to be able to make it to a Hydro Pump before they make it to another move. Now, Hydro Pump from this range does take out Skeledirge, so we're just able to take switch. Now, the opponent brings back in the Steelix, and they're going for a Breaking Swipe. They're not even farming up to an Earthquake, and Azu's super bulky. We do get debuffed, unfortunately, but Hydro Pump will still hit pretty darn hard for Azu being debuffed, so we actually do grab a shield. Now, at this point, I do think I can just farm up to back-to-back Hydro Pumps and switch out, because if I can bank a Hydro Pump, Azu should be able to snipe the Steelix later on. So I will just shield again, switch into Lurantis, and they actually get a Dragon Tail through after that switch. It did not look like they would, but they did. They then bring in Cobalion, and I think the opponent, once again, I think this opponent's also going to try and farm to the back-to-back. So it looks like they are, but Lurantis makes it to another superpower. So we've had 2 big Cobalion misplays already. The opponent brings back in the Steelix, but we have the Hydro Pump banked on Azu, and from this range, Hydro Pump will take out the Steelix, and we take that game. Hopping into the next battle, and we lead Lurantis into Skeleturge. Not good to see it on the lead, and I'm going to switch into Nihilego, because Nihilego is the slightly softer counter, and the opponent switches into Swampert. So this is not ideal, but we can go for a Rock Slide. Rock Slide should do some okay damage, and we should be able to make it to a Sludge Bomb as well. I went for the Sludge Bomb because I was only going to make it to one more move, and Sludge Bomb I do believe hits slightly harder. And so they're going to go for Hydro Cannon. I'm just letting Nihilego go down. It served its purpose. It kind of baited out the Swampert, because Azu still doesn't like Swampert that much. But we can just bring in Lurantis. Lurantis should be able to get a farm down here. And I'm assuming that they'll bring in the Skeleturge after this Leafage KOs them. And they do. And I'm going straight for a Leaf Blade. I just want a slight amount of chip damage. And it does a bit of damage. We can switch in Azu. Now, the opponent's going to go for a move. I do shield because Shadow Ball still will hit for some nice damage. But we can go for another bubble, and the opponent's going to go for another move here. And Shadow Ball will do some nice damage, but in the back they have Cresselia, and there's no real way of winning this. I'm going to play this out, but they're just going to be able to take us out. Azu has some okay bulk in the Ultra League, but Cresselia with the super effective Grass Knot will take out from this range. So my only hope is to try and catch a Grass Knot onto Lurantis, but I didn't see that at the moment. So I just switched in Lurantis, and they go for a Future Sight. Future Sight rocks the Lurantis. They get the farm down, and I concede the match. Hopping into the next battle, and we lead Lurantis into Charizard. And I'm going to switch into Azu here because both of my Pokemon have really strong counters. So the opponent switches into Sylveon, and I'm going straight for the Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump does a lot of damage, even for Azu, so they actually do shield it, and they're going to just go for a move here. I have no intention of shielding Azu, and they go for a Psy Shock, and Azu lives it. We live the next Charm, though, as well, so now we're going to be able to make it to a Play Rough. The opponent double shields. This is basically just giving Nihilego just an opportunity to sweep. They throw a Psy Shock, but I'm just happy to shield it. And we shield the Psy Shock. We'll be able to get a farm down. And it almost doesn't matter what they have in the back as long as it's not a Steel type. And in the back, they have Greninja. Now we can go for a Sludge Bomb, and I probably should have gone for the back-to-back Rock Slides, but it doesn't matter too much. Now the opponent is going to get taken out by this Rock Slide, and the Charizard just has nothing against Nihilego. We're up a shield. They are probably baiting, but they won't make it to another Blast Burn anyway, so we're going to just be able to go for a Rock Slide. Rock Slide will take out the Charizard, and we're able to take that game. Hopping into the next battle, and we lead Lurantis into another Charizard. So I'm seeing everything that I want to counter on the lead, but that's why I'm running basically an ABB style team for countering them. So now I bring in Azumarill, and the opponent switches into Ampharos, and so it looks like Lurantis can take care of the Ampharos, and Hydro Pump actually does some nice damage. Now I'm letting this move go through, and the opponent goes for a Trailblaze, which is not good because it means that they're going to be able to do more damage with whatever their second move is into Lurantis. But it looks like they lag a bit, and we're able to get, I think, 3 Leafages for free there. Usually I don't approve of using lag like that, but I was not really focused on that at the moment. They bring back in the Charizard. In the back they have Rizian. So this is actually looking to be a winnable game because Nihilego appears to core break their team now. They go for a Leaf Blade, and I realize that if they're not running Stone Edge, I should tank at least one move. I go for a Rock Slide, bait, get the shield, and I'm gonna let one move go through. They go for the Leaf Blade, and I'm gonna throw right before they make it to the second one. And from this range, Rock Slide would take them out, I think. So they do have to shield, even though they probably know it's not a Sludge Bomb. They try and get to the back-to-back. They don't get it, and Charizard comes back in. But we're going to be able to go for a Rock Slide and take out the Charizard. We take that game. Hopping into the next battle, and we lead Lurantis into Lucario. This is an odd lead because I do have to land a superpower, but the opponent switches into Kanto Muck. Now, I have a very good answer in Nihilego, but the opponent will outpace us to a move. I don't have to shield this. Nihilego does tank that Dark Pulse very well, and I'm going to overfarm and go for a Rock Slide. Rock Slide won't take him out, but it should do some nice damage. Rock Slide does, I think, 40% of their health, and they're going to go for a move. I decided to shield it. Thunder Punch probably would not take out Nihilego. At this point, I decided to just completely go for a farm down. This is a massive misplay on my end, though, because the energy's going nowhere against Lucario. And they bring it back in, and I'm going for the Sludge Bomb. Both of the moves are double resisted, but the opponent shields the first one. And now I'm going for a Rock Slide. The opponent shields again. So I don't know what they were thinking this thing was running, but they obviously did not want Lucario to get one-shot. Unfortunately, we just make a combo play and pretty much one-shot the Lucario, so it looks like that effort was in vain. In the back, they have Melmetal, and we win the CMP tie on the Superpower, which is great because it means that they're not going to be able to get any extra farm off of Lurantis, and we do some very nice damage. We're double debuffed now, so Rock Slide will definitely take out Lurantis, but now we can just bring in Azumarill. Azumarill will tank any move from Melmetal, even Hyper Beam. It would actually also tank Thunderbolt, although it wouldn't tank it very well. That Rock Slide does very little, and I catch the second one. There was no point in doing this because they were gonna get outpaced anyways. But insult to injury, whatever, man. We go for the Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump will take out the Melmetal, and we're able to take that game. Hopping into the next battle, we lead Lurantis into Swampert. This is an amazing lead for Lurantis, and the opponent's going to switch out into Cresselia. I do realize that Cresselia would just straight up beat both my Pokemon, so I decided to do a bit of chip damage with a Leaf Blade, and Leaf Blade does like 20%. This does mean that Nihilego should be able to take the matchup versus Cresselia at this point, so they're going to go for a Grass Knot. Grass Knot does not take out Nihilego, and I do decide to shield the next one just because I don't want them to be able to double shield and farm down, because I do need switch advantage, because I want to make sure I can align Lurantis onto that Swampert. Now I go for a Rock Slide. The opponent does shield it, so it looks like they are trying to get switch. Now, I'm not going to let that happen. We go for a second Rock Slide. Cresselia does tank that, but now I do have to shield. They go for a Grass Knot, and I can just commit to a farm down here. Now, we do get the farm down. The opponent's going to come back into the Swampert, but I can just switch back into Lurantis. And in the back, they have Obstagoon, and this is why I love Superpower on Lurantis. They didn't know, and they're going to pay for it. Superpower rocks the Obstagoon, and they're not going to even be able to make it to a second move. We get the perfect farm down, we leave with a Leaf Blade. This will force their final shield, and Azu should be able to clean up now that shields are even. They go for a Hydro Cannon. We're debuffed, this will take us out. We can just bring in Azu, and we'll be able to make it to a Hydro Pump and take him out. Now they farm up a lot, so I was getting nervous this was a Sludge Wave. We've already seen that Azu tanks it. They go for an Earthquake, Azu tanks it, and we're going to be able to go for a Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump, I think, barely does not KO. So we're going to switch into Nihilego, just so that we can get a farm down or force them to throw if they make it to a move. Hopping into the next battle, we lead Lurantis into Greninja. This is an amazing lead for Lurantis. The opponent switches into Virizion. Now I can bring in Nihilego, but because of Nihilego's Rock sub-typing, this isn't a hard wall matchup, it's just that we have a type advantage. Nihilego does tank the Leaf Blade, and we do win CMP on the Sludge Bomb, so we should be able to grab a shield. They're going to go for a Leaf Blade. I do have to shield now because we are in Leaf Blade range. They go for the Leaf Blade, and I did think I'd be able to make it to a Rock Slide on CMP. We barely don't make it, and now I do have to commit both my shields. I'm fine with this though, because we should have enough energy to be able to force the second shield back from the Greninja, because I'm assuming that's what they're going to bring in. They bring it in, and we're going to be able to live, I think, 2 more Water Shurikens after this, which guarantees we make it to another Rock Slide, which will mean that we are guaranteed to grab their final shield. They shield the Rock Slide, and they leave with some energy, and in the back they have Cresselia. Now, I'm really glad they switched out here, because Lurantis is a better matchup into Cresselia than Azu does, and Azu hard walls Greninja anyways, so we're going to be able to go for quite a few Leaf Blades into the Cresselia. They're going to go for a move here. Moonblast doesn't take us out, and we'll make it to another Leaf Blade before they make it to another Moonblast. Now, we're going to be able to go for the Leaf Blade, and it does look like that was a CMP tie on a Grass Knot, so I'm presuming they're probably going to go for a Snipe after they land this Grass Knot. The thing is, the Cresselia is low enough that I don't care. I do actually want the Greninja to throw the energy if they have it. They go for a Night Slash, I presume. Night Slash will take out the Lurantis, but they do get the boost. The fun thing about this is that boost does not help them. Look at this, Night Slash still does not do any threatening damage, so we just get a full bubble farm down, and even though Cresselia is bulky and Azumarill is also not very attack weighted, Play Rough from this range will take out Cresselia, so we take this game. Hopping into the next battle, and we lead Lurantis into Obstagoon. And this is another one of those matchups that's just like, Can you land the superpower, or can you not land the superpower? We go for the superpower. If they shield this, then this is not good. But since they shielded it, it does seem like they're going to probably just go for an obstruct. They do. And they should be able to make it to a Night Slash before we make it to a superpower. But the thing is, despite being double debuffed, we live this. I know my IVs. And Lurantis lives it on 1 HP. So we're going to be able to go for a superpower, force their second shield, and we can bring in Azu. And since they're running Obstruct and Night Slash, they're just fully walled here. They have no chance of grabbing a shield from me in this matchup. They go for an Obstruct, Azu tanks it very easily, and we're going to be able to go for a Play Rough. Play Rough will do not a lot of damage because they have a double defense buff, and Azu is also not very attack weighted. But they're going to go for second Obstruct, and then they switch into Golisopod. Normally, Golisopod loves to see Nihilego because it's going to be able to hit us for super effective with Liquidation, but we have 2 shields. We're fine. Now we're going to be able to go for a Rock Slide after overfarming a bit, and this Rock Slide will take out the Golisopod from this range. The opponent brings back in the Obstagoon, but we're going to be able to make it to another Rock Slide. So I think that a Pokemon they had in the back was weak, and it definitely was. It was Charizard, so we were able to take that game. Hopping into the next battle, we lead Lurantis into Defense Form Deoxys. This is just an odd matchup because we outbulk them a lot, and they're going straight for a Psycho Boost. That was a CMP tie. Leaf Blade does some nice damage to the Deoxys, but they're just going straight for a Psycho Boost. I don't have to shield that, and then they switch into Greedent. Now, I want to be able to hit them with a Superpower, or at least grab a shield, because Superpower will do a lot of damage, or grab the shield. So I'm going for a Superpower here, and then I'm probably going to switch into Nihilego. My hope is that I'll be able to catch a Body Slam, so we farm up 1 Leafage, we catch the Body Slam, and we also get the Poison Jab through. That's nice because it does mean it's slightly easier to farm down, although the Greedent is still very bulky. Now, we're going to be able to tank another move here. They go for a Crunch. They get the defense drop, which is irritating, but they're not going to be able to make it to another Crunch here. I know the energy counts for Greedent, and they were not another Crunch. Body Slam will not take out Nihilego. They're going to bring back in the Defense Deoxys, but the thing is, we have like back-to-back Rock Slides here, so we should be able to grab a shield from them either way. I go for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb's slightly harder hitting, but it doesn't matter. They're shielding this. They shield it, and we can just bring in Azumarill. Now, Azumarill will tank whatever move they throw here, but I still decide to shield because Thunderbolt would still hurt. They go for a Psycho Boost, and then they switch into Greninja, and yeah, Greninja's fully walled here, unless they're running Aerial Ace, but I've only seen 1 Greninja running Aerial Ace. We can go for a Play Rough. We lose CMP for fairly obvious reasons. Play Rough does some nice damage. We switch into Lurantis. We actually get a farm down. My intention was to force them to throw, but getting a full farm down is even better because we'll be able to force the final shield with this Leaf Blade. And now Azu easily cleans up the back. Now, so they're going to be able to go for the counters with Defense Deoxys. They make it to another move, but we have a shield, and I can just go for a Play Rough after this. Play Rough will take out Deoxys from this range, and so this will be able to secure us this game. Play Rough takes them out, we take that game. Hopping into the next battle, we lead Lurantis into Alolan Sandslash. And this is where I like running Superpower. Let's see if they know. They are going to go for an Ice Punch. Lurantis lives this, and so we're going to go for a Superpower. I really don't think they know. It looks like they actually did know. So they're going to be able to shield it, and they go for a full farm down, but we make it to another Superpower. Do they want to go down 2 shields? No, they don't. And debuff, it still takes them out. In the back, they have Giratina, and this is a okay matchup for Azu because they're forced to go for the Shadow Sneak. And Shadow Sneak's not the best move, but Dragon Claw's double resisted, so it is better in this scenario. We can go for a Play Rough. Play Rough actually gets shielded. So I'm thinking they're probably going to have something in the back that's weak to Azumarill. So I'm guessing like a Fire type or something. Now they're going to be able to go for a move. They go for a Dragon Claw, which is questionable. And then they realize their mistake, go for a Shadow Sneak. But Azu still does tank all that. Now we can go for a Play Rough. And I probably should have switched out here, but I was thinking I would be able to make it to a Play Rough. You can see me try and switch into the Nihilego there, but in the end, they just get the farm down. Now, I still don't have to shield the first move. They go for a Shadow Sneak, and at this point, I do decide to shield just because I don't want to leave Nihilego just in farm down range for a Charmer or something. And I decide to overfarm a bit. This is probably a good play because it will give me an energy advantage into whatever they have. And in the back, they have Poliwrath, so that energy advantage does look like it's going to be coming in handy. We can go for a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will do slightly less than half, but I'm hoping that the Poison Jab damage will get him into a low enough health range where a second Sludge Bomb will take him out. They go for an Icy Wind, which is terrible, but Nihilego is barely able to live. Does this Sludge Bomb KO? The entire match depends on it, and it does. So Nihilego is able to secure that game for us. Overall, it was kind of fun being able to wall fire types like that. Like, the Incinerate boost is extremely fun, but at the same time, it can get really irritating when your Pokemon that resists it just gets fully farmed down by a Talonflame that boosts. So I was happy to be able to run these two counters. Lurantis also did very well. I was pretty happy with it. And Nihilego, I thought it was going to be a lot glassier than it was because it's an Ultra Beast in the Open Ultra League, but it actually performed very well. Now, Azu, it did a lot better than I had thought it would, just for a Pokemon that hits 1,795 combat power. So I was overall extremely impressed by that, and they were able to do very well. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.